The reason MedOne came to be was a problem that Dad saw in terms of what was happening to Hartig Drug as a self-funded employer. He was seeing what he was getting billed from the insurance company and seeing what he was getting reimbursed from the insurance company, and those two numbers didn't match up.
So when I tracked all that down to figure out who was getting all my money, I decided I can do this. I should be able to do this. This can't be hard. Well, it turned out to be a lot harder than I thought it was going to be.
And so he started MedOne to initially solve for his own problem, and then saw that problem existing in several other area employers, and so he brought them a solution.
The story of Hartig Drug began with this letter, which was sent to my grandfather. It says, Mr. Albert J. Hartig, Chicago, Illinois. It's dated April 20th of 1904. The letter, handwritten in cursive, is from Otto Reutte, who was then the owner of the pharmacy at First and Locust Street, asking AJ to come back to Dubuque at once. He was in ill health, and asked him to take over his pharmacy. There was only one stipulation. He had to pay Otto's wife, Mrs. Reutte, $50 a month until she passed. So Grandpa said, I'll do that. And that's how the company started.
Hartig Drug's been in my family since 1904, started by my great-grandfather. Dad started MedOne in 1999, initially as a subsidiary of Hartig Drug. 2010 was when it spun out as a separate business, and we've grown independently since that time.
I started working at Hartig Drug Company in 1964. I always worked in the pharmacy. I always worked in the warehouse, driving truck, delivering prescriptions, stocking shelves, cleaning toilets, everything there was to be done with the company with 4 stores at that time. And so I started in 64, and I worked all the way through high school and all the way through college. Came back full-time in 73. We had a mission, and I think it's still consistent today. I can't think of anything that any time during my life that we haven't, as we dedicated a significant portion of our profits to community endeavors.
I think the biggest thing is we have a bit of a connection with the community, and we want Dubuque and also the tri-states to thrive, and we would want to make sure that we can take care of folks as good as we can and as reasonably as we can. And it's something that we continue to try to do. And when you're a local company with local roots, I think it keeps you honest, and I think it makes you consider the impacts your business has on the community. It's much easier for large groups or large multinational companies to make decisions without seeing their neighbors every day that might have to be impacted by those decisions.
Charlie and I came home over Christmas break one year, and Mom and Dad sat us down and said, when are you guys coming back? I don't know how long we can do this for in terms of running this business, and so we need your help. And for years we said, just give us a couple of years. Like we want to do it, but in a couple of years. And we said that for probably about 5-6 years. And so finally he said, no, look, we need to know in terms of if this is serious, if you're really going to head this direction. And so we both looked at each other and said, if we don't try this, we'll regret it for the rest of our lives. And so that was a very, emotional day, but it was also a unifying day. And it allowed us to plan for what the next, few years looked like to make that transition. MedOne is 50% owned by our family. So my mom, my dad, my brother, and me, and 50% owned by primarily 3 individuals that we've come to know and trust and become friends with over many years. It was actually the investment from the non-family members from MedOne that provided the opportunity. It was just a natural fit based on my relationships with those folks. And my background was more financial, and Charlie's was more retail pharmacy. And so I think it was a natural fit that I stepped in with MedOne, and Charlie worked a separate succession plan to take over as the CEO of Hartig Drug.
Oh yeah, I think we meet every Wednesday. So we talk about everything at that time, and everything's on the table. Everybody takes a turn. So, and it talks about what happened this week and where we're going next week.
It's a really nice time. Sometimes we talk about business for 15 minutes, have a cup of coffee, and then talk about weekend plans, getting together, getting our kids together, and Mom and Dad can see the grandkids. Sometimes the meeting's an hour and a half. It just depends on what kind of questions and work and ideas we want to talk about.
I'm not sure where this concept came from, but there was a notion of which room are we in? You know, there's a notion of there's a family room, there's an owner's room, there's a board room, and there's a management room. And so we try to have the right conversation in the right room.
Wes and I are fourth generation business owners. I'm a fourth generation pharmacist. It's a pretty special accomplishment. Now without trials and tribulations, of course, but there's a lot of things Wes or I could have done with our lives, but I think it's a testament to how my dad grew up and how he conducted his business and how he modeled what a successful local business can be and can do and how it can grow. And that excited Wes and I for opportunities in the future.
When I started at MedOne in 2016, I knew nothing about PBM. The best thing I did at that time was to say I don't know and to ask questions and observe and try to connect dots over the course of the coming months and years, really. And the dots are still being connected to this day.
I liked the story of MedOne and our roots in the community and how we came to be a PBM, the genuineness of the people that interviewed with me, and the fervor with which they spoke of the core values of MedOne. It really shined through in how they spoke of MedOne and how they approach day to day.
So when I interviewed for the job, I explained to them that I certainly understood formulary management. I understood what it took to determine what drugs should be used in a specific patient. My entire background was around cost containment and making sure we did it efficiently. And PBMs focus on different things, and if they wanted to focus on that type of a formulary, I knew I could build it. I was excited about the opportunity because we could create a lot of things, and I was excited to be able to take my experience and create a foundation that we could then build upon.
My favorite part of working at MedOne is the relationships we're building every day. As I talk about the sales role here at MedOne, I always talk about the difference of selling a product or a widget, going back to business training and business school. But what we're selling here at MedOne is we're really selling a relationship and the service we bring behind it.
The work that we're doing, it matters to us. We're passionate about carrying that work forward. And for me personally, to be working alongside in this organization that really care about the type of work that we're doing and the impact that we're having on our patient. We all get behind that vision, and we work hard to try to do our part as an organization at MedOne to change the dynamic that's in the marketplace today.
One of the things we recognize is things change over the 120 years. Well, it's a long time. Things change, and so we have to change with it. And so we need to look for opportunities, we need to look for challenges. That's one of the things that Dad did so well. He saw opportunities, he saw issues like how MedOne came to be, and he acted on it. He took the bold steps to execute on those ideas and opportunities.
I had no idea it would become what it's already become. I mean, it's remarkable what Wes has done with the company and the employees that he's hired. I mean, a great group of people, smart, hardworking, competitive. It's great. I mean, it's a fun company to work for. I mean, I watch it grow, and it's just amazing to me. Just amazing.
In 5 years, I see MedOne as the leading value-based PBM serving some of the largest employers in the country. In 5 years, I believe we'll set the standard for what it means to be a PBM. And then in 20 years, we'll be the 800-pound gorilla, except we'll do things the right way. And I think along that journey, over the next 5, 10, and 20 years, we'll create more opportunities for our people to continue to grow and challenge themselves, but also be aligned with the company's success over those years.